Okay, so in this short video I'm going to be showing you how you can create an interim or checkout report on the system whereby you don't have a previous inventory, so you're doing it from scratch. Obviously it's better to have a previous inventory on the system because it will allow us to pull everything through side by side, but of course there are going to be times where you've got properties that you want to perform reports against but you don't have that previous information, which is absolutely fine. So in this example here we have a house that we've already set up, example house, with a tenant housed within that property. So the next option we have in that scenario when we've got that far is to add a report. So I'm going to choose to add report. We then have the first option is what type of report do we want to create. So we can create any number of different types of reports. Let's just say I'm going to do an interim visit report for this particular property. So I'm going to choose an interim. It will then give me an option just underneath that to say what would I like to do. Would I like to clone the contents from a previous report, or would I like to start the report from scratch? Now, because in this scenario, of course, we don't have any previous information to copy, we're going to choose the option to start report from scratch. So I then choose Save and Next in the bottom right hand corner, and it then takes me through into my overview screen for my report. And as you can see, I can drop into different sections. So it might be, for instance, and we know that some landlords, some letting agents choose to take meter readings when they do interims, although some don't. So if you're one that doesn't, it's just a case of choosing not applicable against the meter readings. It will then automatically choose not applicable for all of them if you select it within the blue field, because that makes the whole field not applicable. I then hit done. I can then go straight into my rooms and spaces. Now this bit's particularly important because obviously what you don't want to have to do is when you get to the property, using your app, click through each individual item. Obviously if you press the start inspection button, it will take you through each individual item step by step, so you can go through and record information, but it's more likely that you'll do perhaps a visual check around the property, maybe add some general overview photographs into the room. If the tenant were to report there was a particular issue with maybe a radiator, I could go straight to that radiator, identify any issue with it. For instance, I could add my photograph. I could then choose that item that needs repairing, add a photo, put some information in, and then choose Save and Next. But of course I don't then necessarily need to go through each item after that. So let's just assume that I've checked the radiator, I've chosen Save and Next in the bottom right. I then want to go back to the overview of the room. So you can see from this example here, I've gone into the radiator, I've identified an issue, but then let's just say in the entrance hallway, other than that, I was quite happy with all the other items in the room. I could then choose Next, and then I can go and do the same then with each room. So the point I'm making here is to save time. You don't want to click through each item one by one. It's better to go out into the overview, choose the specific item that you wish to report on, make some comments, and then come out. So, but we also have lots of agents that like to take general overview photos so they can then subsequently forward them on to the landlord. In that scenario, that's very straightforward as well. You can go straight into your general overview. Obviously, if you're using an iPad, there will be an option to take a photo. I'm on a desktop at the moment, so I'm just adding in my pictures, and you can add your multiple photographs in of a room. A general overview, as it were. So if your landlords were looking to have an overview of the property from your interim visit report, you can add those in. You could maybe choose that the room was clean and tidy, and then identify the cleanliness and condition and hit Save and Next. And then of course that will put general overview photographs and a general overview of each room and space at the beginning. So I've let's just say I've chosen that and I'm happy with that. So as I've said before, it's a case of just ticking in the bottom right hand corner to confirm you've inspected an entire room, and that of course avoids the need for you to go into each individual item. And then when I've inspected all of my rooms, I then hit done. I could then add some report notes onto the front cover if I wanted to, just by typing in here. And that will be housed on the front cover of the report. And then the next section is the signatures and approval. Now, 9 times out of 10, letting agents, landlords don't request approval of an interim report. It's just something that they do in-house, for their purposes, just to make sure that everything's okay. So in that instance, It's just a case of saying no to all of these questions. Oh, perhaps, sorry, I apologise. If the tenant was present, you may say yes to this question if they were present during your inspection. But the other two, you're more likely to say no, because this is about getting the tenant to sign to confirm they're happy with the report. So then you would just put your name in here, pop your signature on and hit done, and then preview the report. It will then create a preview of the report for you, and you can identify any issues that you picked up on. Now, we took some photographs. You will note that the photographs show on the right hand side as the current state, and the reason there's some space on the left hand side, of course, is because if we had created a previous inventory, then those photographs would show on the left hand side. So I'm just going through my report. Let's assume that I'm happy. I hit submit. And as you can see, it then creates a PDF for me instantly and shows in green that it's completed. If I then want to send that report straight on to the landlord, I can click on the cog icon next to the report and I can choose email report. If I click on that button, it will then give me the option to add in the landlord's name. I can pop in, and you can do that an infinite number of times. So if you have a few, if you wanted to send the report on to a couple of people, maybe there's two landlords for a property, you could instigate that process separately for each and then hit send. It then sends them an email with a downloadable PDF link. Of course, that avoids the need for you to have to save the attachment to your desktop and then forward it on to the tenant. So there we have an overview of how to do an interim report without a previous inventory.